I've told before on stream about how me and my brother and friend had
Your friend Will.
Yeah, my friend Will. My friend Will, you stop scratching my fucking nuts. We had a secret club that we would do things for us. This was part of the operations for the club. You had to make sure you were strong and well skilled in escaping capture.
Yeah.
In the case of a capture by enemies, which were all completely imagined in our mind. But we tried to get other people to be rivals, but they wouldn't do it.
They didn't want to be rivals.
They didn't care enough. They didn't care enough to come up with elaborate, like, James Bond type of, like, scenarios where you have to use your skills or strength to escape. I and my brother tried to lock some other kid in something to see if he could escape to turn him into a rival, but then he just got mad and cried, so he let him out. And then he told his mom.
He tried to turn him into a rival.
Yeah, he tried to be a bastard to turn him into a rival, but it didn't work.
He just locked some kid in a cage.
I do remember that also, that we had, like, currency in this, and the one friend would always rack up debt because we would gamble. The primary thing we used the currency for was gambling. And we would gamble in card games. And the primary thing that you would buy with the currency were fake cigars that we would make.
Out of what?
It would be thin bark off a birch tree, rolled very carefully into a tube filled with sawdust. And they were, you know, some of us were better at rolling them than others, and those would fetch higher prices.
Yeah.
And the cheap ones were rolled out of, like, newspaper, but the good ones were the birch bark.
You bought fake cigars with your currency.
Yeah, with your currency. The only exchange was either making vices or gambling.
Yeah, just like real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the precursor to prismatic ecstasy.
Yeah, it was. It's all coming down to this.
Do you still get DMs of people asking if they're real?
Still.
And
bro, where can you hook me up? Like, every so often.
Bro, where
And it's still top on the Google search. And that video has a lot of views now.
It's really funny. Because people want them. They want to open up a cigarette gotcha.
Yeah. We would also distribute powdered Smarties. It was literally, everything was based around trying to look cool by doing something we weren't allowed to do. All the kid versions were just various, like, tomfooleries.
Slab Roll's worst cigar ever asked to become rival.
I remember at one point we amassed enough members that they split, and then we finally had our way for a bit because we had rivals.
Uh-huh.
And they had their own currency, but they just made, because we used like tickets that you would buy on a big roll at Walmart as our currency. And we would write down the serial numbers at the beginning and end so that you couldn't buy more tickets and just inflate the market. But then but we also had ones that we printed off that looked like they were drawn in MS Paint. And then they basically just had the same bill that was made in MS Paint, but they changed the logo on it.
Yeah, they counterfeited it.
Yeah, they were making counterfeit bills. Also, the bills that were printed off the printer were supposed to be backed by tickets in the treasury, but we would always steal them out of the treasury. So the economy was massively inflated. And eventually it was discovered, we did a grand count of the treasury, and it was discovered that the money was worth a lot less because we had overinflated it. And then it ruined the economy, and then we had to gamble 3 times more to make it worth anything.
We had to start gambling. You had an economy based entirely off of gambling and buying cigars.
Yeah, and other such things.
Yeah.
We also had the secret speakeasy where we could gamble, where we dug a giant pit under the back porch. And we would sneak down there. There was a big plywood sheet over it. We'd huddle around and play cards in the middle.
Did your parents ever find it?
Yeah, because
did they get mad?
Because we came out and we looked like we just rolled in a mud pit. Because every time it would rain, it would become completely slick with mud. It was just a giant dirt hole.
Did they get mad at you?
Yeah, they were pretty upset about that. They were like,
Did they make
you dug a hole under our porch? You could mess with the foundation, you idiots.
Did they make you refill the hole?
We, like, tried to refill it, but it didn't fill in quite as much.
Is the hole still there?
Yeah, there's a bit of a pit, I think.
Oh my god.
It was kind of a self-solving problem because every time it rained, the mud would wash down into the hole, so we were constantly having to dig it back out.
Yeah.
Because it was getting shallower every time it would rain. Also, yeah, a lot of our currency was buried underground. We buried bottles full of tickets and bills and counterfeit bills all over the yard.
Childhood hyperinflation. This is how they ran the real economy of
We got a really
Zimbabwe.
good political and economic lesson from this because we overinflated our own currency despite claiming it was going to be backed. We didn't keep to the promise and it fucked it all up. We had a political system that was rigged because votes from people that lived in our house counted double what the people that didn't.
That's crazy.
So me and my brother would basically be the only ones who could ever be in power because we would just vote each other in.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
You created your own corrupt society. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then when someone else was elected in, when we had more members, we split off. And then as part of the reconciliation, when they wanted to come back in because they weren't in the Cool Kids Club anymore, they had to give us the presidency back. It was pretty fucked up. I gotta find the old website I made for it. I had a Google Sites website for this.
For your society?
Yeah, for our secret society.
Uwo's house counts as a second person.
Well, we were gerrymandering.
Yeah, your house is a person, too. I vote for Uwo's house.
We had a newspaper publication that would come out once a month too.
Wow.
And I would make it, and it was all impact font everywhere. And it was a single sheet of computer paper front and back, and Dad got mad because it used too much ink to print these giant impact black letters for all the headlines.
Giant impact font black letters.
The articles were mostly benign, but anytime my brother was trying to overthrow me for the presidency, I would run smear campaign articles as of headlines.
Like what?
I would be like, did you know he actually said he was going to steal all the money if he became president immediately?
And did he? Yes.
Yes.
Wow, just like the real president.
I was doing it too.
Wow, just like
when I
real
was starting
politics.
to run out of money, I would start siphoning some from the treasury. That's why the currency inflated.
That's literally...
Because that was
wow.
supposed to be the untouched reserve.
You just recreated society.
I know. We're siphoning gold out of Fort Knox. It got to the point where we tried to rebalance it. We got rid of a lot of the big bills that were supposed to represent the stash, and then we buried the other treasury parts, and each person had to bury their own so that they wouldn't know where the other parts were, so they couldn't steal them.
Yeah.
It was a low-trust society move.
And
The problem
just
is
stole from
that,
their own.
yeah, some of them were really bad at burying them, so I knew where all of them were buried. And I immediately relocated them to my own location. And then, when I started running out of money, well, it's time to start dipping into the treasury.
Get back to the treasury, guys.
My brother did it too, though. Then he found my stash and he didn't report it. He just stole all the money in it. And he discovered that I stole it because he would dig up his portion that he had hid so that he could steal from his part of the treasury that he was supposed to watch over. It was a den of liars and thieves, man. Anyway, the entire reason why I went about explaining all this is because I said that we would try to trap each other in scenarios and see if we could escape from them. And the one friend took out so much... That was a massive moth. One friend took out so much debt that he owed us money, and in exchange to clear his debt, we said he had to escape from a scenario where we would tie him to the kitchen chair and then put it in the top of a tree. And he had to get out and get down the tree.
Wow, if only the real economy worked that way. You could just perform a hilarious feat and you would get all your debt forgiven.
Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, we took one of the dining chairs from our kitchen and tied him to it and hoisted him up into the top of this tree. And this idiot, instead of trying to like worm out of the wrist restraint and then like make his way down or whatever, he started rocking the chair back and forth thinking that he could like break the back off it or something. And he fell out of the tree tied to a chair. And the chair was tied to the tree, but the way it was is that the rope just unraveled, so he spun around while it was falling down. And he was hitting, like, every branch on the way down, so he just went... Oh, no, he's gonna get hurt, and then we're gonna get in trouble for it. He fell all the way out, and he hit the ground, and the chair exploded into 100 pieces.
Did your parents get mad about you destroying the chair or tying your friend up or both?
So, he didn't snitch that we tied him up and threw him out of a tree because that was part of the debt, and we said we weren't going to forgive it if he snitched.
Yeah.
And he was a snitcher, too, so that was something we really needed to clear. We invented our own Squid Game, but it was more epic.
We created Squid Society.
Squid Society. We created Parkour Society.
Created Parkour Squid Society.
Parkour Society, because you could clear your debts by being good at, like, Evel Knievel tricks. Or, no, not Evel Knievel. What's his name?
Houdini.
Houdini tricks, yeah.
Houdini escape artist tricks.
Hey man, he shouldn't have had the debt. Me and my brother beat the shit out of each other with sticks, too.
We made him do a Squid Game fucking
we got,
gambit, dude.
We had wooden swords. Like, they look like swords, but they're made out of wood. We beat each other with those swords so much that they, like, splintered into nothing. Like, by the end, they were, like, beat to hell, and they were just, like, sticks. So, you know, he was one of the bros, for sure. All the other kids we were gentle with because we didn't want to get in trouble. But him, we knew we could treat him like a brother. So we would brawl. We would also fight each other and then film it on a big, giant VCR recorder, like camcorder. You would shove an entire VHS tape in the side, and then you put it up on your shoulder, and it looked like a newscasting camera. It was awesome. And we'd film each other fighting. And then once the speakeasy pit got destroyed, we set up a different one in a closet, and we put in a tiny old tube TV with a VCR, and we would watch the fight footage, and then would gamble on it, even though they were pre-recorded and we were the ones fighting.
Game was rigged from the start.
They would just forget who won each particular one, because it would be like 70 different fights VHS tape, and each one would only last 5 minutes. No, we didn't build a mud pit in the closet. We built our secret gambling room in the closet.
Secret sandy mud pit in the closet.
We built a lot of other secret gambling pits. Lots in trees. There was a big row of pine trees in the neighborhood that we hollowed out, like, the inside of them. That was, like, a big one. There's a big tree in the front of our house that we hollowed out the inside of. I'm sure Dad loved that once he found out that the inside of his tree was gone. Because we had chopped the limbs out of it. So it was like a big, like, shrub, right? It was massive. It was up against the house. It was probably like 10 foot tall. It was a big round. But the leaves that cover are only on the outside. The inside's all like twigs. And the part growing up against the house didn't have any leaves on it because it wasn't exposed to the sun. So we just made a little hole in the bottom that you could crawl into, and then we cut out all the limbs on the inside facing the house so that the space between the bush and the house was hollow, and we could hide in there.
Secret tree fortress.
Yeah, exactly. The Keebler elves. That was the secret hutch. It was awesome. As a kid, that's like the coolest shit ever. Because we couldn't have a real tree house.
Giving myself a concussion, so I forgot the past 30 minutes so I could gamble on pre-recorded fights that I was in.
We would record them. We had a lot of tapes, okay? And they were all indistinguishable. Like, good luck figuring out which fight it was when you started watching it. Because they were all in the same spot in the backyard, and it was always the same people fighting. Or, you know, some combination thereof. And we had multiple tapes. So you just put in a random tape. When one fight went in, you'd pause it so that it was queued up the next time you loaded that tape in with a different fight. So some people would remember, like, what the first few fights on the tape were, but you wouldn't remember all of them. Anyway, basically what I was saying is I had a baller childhood. Also, that big shrub in front of the house, which was covering the majority of the ugly brickwork, absolutely died after, like, 5 or 6 years. And Dad started being like, why is this bush turning brown? It's not growing like it used to, because it would stay green year-round normally.
What's wrong with the bush?
And he's like, what's wrong with this thing, man? And yeah, it turns out it's because your stupid kids cut the inside of the bush out.
Kids do something.
The same thing happened to the pine tree. He ended up chopping all the limbs off the bottom of it because it was like all messed up on the inside where we cleared branches.